For the Outsider Racing League's 5th race of the season, they take on the 1-mile racetrack known as Thunder Alley. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Rockingham Speedway, where the Outsider Racing League will contend their 5th race of the season after a wild round at Darlington a week ago.
See, it's getting darker and darker, and there's just no way right now for these drivers to know exactly what's going to happen.
These guys are going to have to be really, really careful and tiptoe around the track until it's either stopped.
Not even 10 minutes into this race, and I feel like we've got enough strategy going on for a whole event, but still a long, long way to go.
There's Yellowstone, there's Yosemite, but for racing fans and for Grid Life's Elkhart Classic, the destination is Road America, the National Park of Speed.
Free ride in the front of the field here. Look at Emil Tab up the inside for the race leaders. We head down to the first corner.
These guys have no idea what they're coming into. Look at this field. They're 2 wide, 3 wide, a couple places slipping.
Side by side for the race lead, 54, 48 through 3 and 4, working lap number 60, 110 laps to go. Yusuf Ghali, power move to the bottom of the racetrack, making the short way work. They're going to touch down the hill.
This will be a great run for Fuller here.
Yeah, typically ran off the track in the final quarter. That'll allow Fuller to get a massive.
Here he comes.
Does he have a look?
Oh, big block here by Sanfilippo. Into the grass goes Ben Fuller for turn 1, and Sanfilippo hangs on. He's loose. No! And he crashes hard in the exit of turn number 2. Don't try it here, boys. They're going to do it. Gritsko backs out. They touch. They're going to crash. Gritsko going to slam the attenuator hard into the wall. And Sarah Testa hits him as well. And big damage on these cars. That's a huge
Number 4, people are struggling for grip, going out of every single lane, even trying to make a run. It's getting really insane.
Powered by AWS for the Intercontinental GT Challenge, powered by Pirelli at the Indianapolis 8-hour. We are 7 hours and 18 minutes into this 8-hour.
the braking zone for the bus stop. This is where Brussi really seems to gain on the side.
James Houghton looking for a place to go, but he's got Austin Cobb to the inside. Bit of a gap behind. I think that's about 15th or 16th spot as they come out of turn 3. Big slide for this.
Getting a run. He's got it. Going to be a drag racing line. Final corner. Checkered flag waving. Here they come. At Virginia National Raceway. To the line. Thompson, Darling, door to door. Banging doors. Fender to fender. I can't believe what we just saw.
Tonight at Rockingham Speedway, the Outsider Racing League takes on Rockingham, the 1-mile racetrack in North Carolina that no longer is on the NASCAR schedule, but it certainly is on ours here tonight. Welcome to Sim TV. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined by Connor Horn this evening. Dash for cash, $30 of extra cash on the prize for someone tonight if they can get themselves in victory lane under green flag conditions with the green number on the side of their car. You'll see them in the left-hand side of the screen. Matthew Close, Adam Cabot, Zach Halpern, Brian Chambliss, and Angelo Ronis, the drivers that are in contention for that prize here tonight. Connor, welcome back. This racetrack is always something unique, but I found that this racetrack always races cleaner than you would think it would. It sort of looks and feels like a short track, even though it's a 1-mile speedway. This track races generally pretty cleanly, and I think we'll see a pretty good race this evening.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very awesome race indeed. I raced here in Fuel, and it was a very clean race. That race went green pretty much the 3/4 of the way. The ORL race here last year, I finished second to Yusuf Ghali. Obviously, a fairly clean race. One thing that we saw in these Cup cars, especially the tire wear, gets absolutely massive. Whether it's a long 50-lap run, even after 20 laps, these tires are going to be dead, and you got to be careful. I think last season, I don't believe we had tire sets last year, and this season, I think I'm trying to see how many tire sets we have for this. We have 5 tire sets, so 4 extra tire sets. So with how aggressive the tire wear is here, these drivers are going to be really careful.
You know, you just reminded me that I think now in our timing and scoring software, I should be able to have access to the amount of tire sets that drivers have. So that's an interesting thing for next week. I should be able to get that in so we have a bit better idea of how many drivers have what tires. So 150 laps tonight. This is a short race, Connor. This is not a long one. If it goes green from start to finish, that's about 55 minutes worth of racing, which is definitely on the shorter end. But we'll get your starting grid rolling across the bottom of the screen here momentarily after we have a look at the weather information. 78 in the air, 86 on the racetrack. Room for that to drop tonight. But let's talk a little bit about this racetrack. This is a unique one for sure. It's, again, a 1-mile speedway, but it has the feel of a short track with the high banking, almost Bristol-like corners, Connor. It's unique, it's fast, but in the past we've seen this place generally be pretty clean and green racing with lots of long green flag runs kind of characterizing this place.
It is kind of odd to see that. You think Rockingham, you think absolute carnage, just Thunder Alley for a reason. You expect drivers to be pretty much flipping down the straightaways. I think we've actually seen that before in real life, but hasn't happened as far as I know. It's a track that's mostly one grooved. You really want to be wrapping that yellow line for the most part, but if you venture up to that high line trying to get the run out of a corner, you can make it work. So yes, it races cleaner more than usual. It's very odd, but that's just a testament to how good these drivers are. These drivers know how to get around here clean. They know how to make clean passes, and I expect to see a lot of crazy racing tonight, although it will be clean racing.
Let's roll through our starting lineup here tonight. On the front row, it's going to be Brandon Bowers, another strong qualifying run for his number 31 Chevrolet. He starts alongside Dash for Cash competitor Brian Chambliss. Row number 2, Joshua Banks making his return to ORL tonight in 3rd in the 36, and AJ Stravato in 4th in the 33 car.
It's actually 2 straight poles at Rockingham for Bowers. Then of a 3rd row, Bailey Turner, Jeremy Miller. Turner just snapped his 46 race winless streak. Maybe he'll try to go back-to-back at a track where his last win before Darlington came at. Bryce Calusa, Adam Cabot on the 4th row, Dash for Cash driver with the 77, and another Dash for Cash driver, 2 of them as a matter of fact, on the 5th row, Zach Halpern and Angelo Horonis.
Yeah, they will start 9th and 10th in row number 5. Eric Hutton starts 11th in the number 88. Matthew Close, another one of our Dash for Cash competitors with the yellow number, he starts in 12th. 13th place, Alex Bell alongside Jonathan Hernandez in 14th in the number 1 car. Then on back to row number 8, Casey Lakatos in the number 50, and Clifton Cockrell in the 16.
Jeremiah Vincent and Russell Arnold share that 9th row, and right behind them, RJ Root and Mac Burgess rounding out the top 20. Then the last 3 drivers tonight rounding out the field, Zach Floyd, Brian Stewart, and then David Mott Jr.
So green numbers going for a $30 extra cash prize if they can bring home the victory under green flag conditions. Otherwise, no deal. But the deal tonight is 150 laps worth of racing at Rockingham Speedway for the Outsider Racing League. The 5th round of the season about to get underway from Thunder Alley. Green flag flies and we're racing from Rockingham.
You already see how many drivers from that top lane tried to get to the bottom immediately. The only one caught out, Jeremy Miller up there, who's dropping back to the 6th position. He's going to have to try to find a lane in there.
Clean and green so far through turn number 3. And Brandon Bauer is going to step out in front right now. Lap 1 of 150 completed on the bottom of the racetrack on the front straightaway. There is the 24 of Bailey Turner. We talked about how good of a race he had last time out. He got back to victory lane last week at Darlington. The guy in yellow won the lady in black, but he runs inside the top 5 here early. As underneath him, here comes the 36 of Joshua Banks. New livery on board that car as he works over for 5th spot.
Alex Bell got into the wall in the exit of turn 1. He has some damage, but meanwhile, look at the 77 Adam Cabot trying to get the money in the back, going under for the 5th position back there. I think that was on Banks. Yes, it was, so put him up into the top 5. When I look at the guys who are up the front right now, I see a lot of opportunity. These guys have opportunity to make something happen. Brandon Bowers, 50 race to win this streak. Brian Chambliss never won in his own league. AJ Stravato kind of let one slip away last week in Darlington. You see a lot of drivers trying to prove themselves something here.
Woo, look at Jeremiah Vincent up the inside. He's trying to prove something, certainly. He will drive right by Clifton Cockrell's number 16. You're not going to go for 15th place on Casey Lakatos. He's free and cleared up to 2nd place. Brian Chambliss dealing with the battle of his own with the behind him AJ Stravato in the 33 and Bailey Turner in the 24. Now AJ Stravato has not gotten off to as hot of a start as we saw him last season. You see the 77 have a big moment there out of 4.
Yeah, he hasn't had that big of a start. Like we said last week, it's a bit of a strategy on the green flag pit stops kind of lost on that one to Bailey Turner. Stravato was kind of in the lead. He was in the lead for most of that race, but just let it slip away, trying to get back onto the top step of the podium here tonight. He's got to get by that 9 machine first, as Brandon Bowers is opening up a huge lead right now.
Yeah, I say that he hasn't really had a start to the season we'd expect. He is 2nd in the point standings, only 9 back from Jeff Wright, but he has not won a race yet this season. That's something he did a bunch of last season. He moves into 2nd, bit of a touch there between the 24 and 9.
Whoa,
up middle, 3
wide.
wide comes the 77 into turn number 3.
Turner's able to sort himself back out, get back to the bottom lane. Chambliss is the odd man now. He's going to drop almost completely out of the top 5 here, all the way back to 5th. As it's Angelo Horonis, another driver on the long winless streak, also in a dash for cash, trying to get up there. Chambliss starts to drop hard.
Yeah, Chambliss going backwards right now. Horonis going to squeeze his way inside. The top dash for cash driver is the number 77 right now as he runs in 3rd place. Looking back a little bit deeper, Alex Bell, you mentioned he might have gotten the wall early in the going. Pink on board that car this week. Fairly significant damage on the right front of that car. That is going to definitely hurt him tonight, Connor.
And it sucks to do that so early in a race. It was pretty much lap 2 or 3. He really dinged up that right front. He's going to have to deal with that the whole green flag run. That car's going to get tighter and tighter as it gets way loose off of turn 2.
Oh, big tank slapper moment. Around goes Eric Hutton. He will pass the 15 car. I'm sure you got a good view of that. Let's go on board and ride with the 88 as he watched the 15 get all sorts of sideways at the exit at turn number 2. Here's a look.
Yeah, you never want to see him fishtailing like that because you kind of just got to stop to make sure you don't run in the back of him. It's extremely scary in that, and Bell's got a lot of drivers stacked up. He's getting loose again at it too. It's Matthew Close right behind him. Jeremiah Vincent, Case Ricotta's battling side by side as well for 14th.
Yeah, really tight battle going on here for those positions as we work out of turn number 4. Bell in 12th right now. He started in 13th, so he's actually gone forward a position, but he looks like he's really struggling right now as he's got a couple drivers in behind him of all makes and models knocking on the doorstep trying to get on by.
Yeah, a lot of hungry Camaros behind him, the 42 and the 92. He's got to be really careful as the 42 goes for a big dive on the 92. Close not giving him a lot of room. 42 off the apron, slips up the track. Sorry, it's the 45.
45 car, yeah.
2 M's on the front, just one's a bit different as the 50 is going to make a dive for the bottom. Close. We're seeing right now the top lane has absolutely nothing on it. You see the 92 loses 2 positions in 1 turn right there.
Going by the camera on the back straightaway wall. They call that Thunder Alley back there because it's loud and thundering all the time. Car way up high. That's the 92 of Matthew Close. Multi-groove. Is that something we'll see here tonight, or will we trend towards the bottom for most of this race, do you think?
I think it's going to be a fight for the bottom. You saw it on the initial restart. Everyone fought to get to the bottom from the top row. I think you're going to see that again. It's really difficult to get anything going up there. There's so many bumps that get in your way. You go fishtailing up the racetrack if you hit one bump too hard. So I think these drivers are going to have to try their best to be glued to the very bottom, that yellow line.
Cars going for a big slide at the exit of 4. Already 13 laps complete. And they are just going to click off really fast here. Let's talk about tire fuel strategy. We're already a half a second off pace-wise. So our tire's going to be king later in this race. And would you rather try to do the overcut, especially for Brendan Bowers? Let's think about his career for a moment. He has been in this series quite some time. He has always started and run really well at the beginning of races, but the struggle has always been finishing these races out. He has never, I don't believe he's ever won a race, and looking, no. He has never won a race. So he would love to get that done tonight in that NOS Energy Chevrolet Camaro.
Yeah, I talked about this, I think, last week when I was in the chat. I have like a spreadsheet of like winless streaks. He's gone 50 starts in ORL without a win, and he's been fast. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the fastest drivers in this series. It's just a matter of, like you said, finishing these races off. Keeping his car clean is the most important part. He led a lot of laps at Rockingham last season, but he got his right front into the outside wall. He wasn't able to recover. He could get the track position. It's all about keeping his car clean. And tonight, if he can keep his car clean and keep it at the front like he is right now, he's got a really good shot at breaking that winless streak.
Yeah, like I said, this track usually goes green for long periods of time. We're seeing that already, even with the chaos we've had kind of midfield here. Still no yellow to slow down the evening. Already 51 minutes of racing remaining on the back straightaway. Brian Chambliss is below the yellow line.
He got really sideways. I think he was trying to make sure he didn't hit Banks. Banks was way high at it too. As seeing a lot of drivers starting to sort themselves out. We're seeing the top two, Brendan Bowers, AJ Travado, actually even Adam Cabot starting. Those 3 starting to get away from Bailey Turner, who's leading pretty much the rest of that, I'd say, front pack.
Zach Halpern keeping the livery on from last week. Of course, his commemoration / throwbacks game that he ran at Darlington Raceway. Bryce Calusa in behind. I believe that's a new livery on board that number 20 car as he works over the rear of the 26 Camry at the exit of turn 4. And now it's Camaro, as John Hindhoff would say. I was watching a lot of Petit Le Mans today down in Road Atlanta. But the Camaro and the Camry running 9th and 10th right now as it stands.
You're watching your fancy racing. I was watching cars flip over at Kansas, apparently.
Yeah, no one flipping over at Petit Le Mans today, but one of the Mazdas did blow out a brake rotor going down into 10A, and he lost brakes going about 175, 180 miles an hour, so that was pretty wild as well. But he kept it. That car got back in the race eventually, which goes to show you how wild it can be out there. Casey Licata is now dealing with Jeremiah Vincent behind, and the 15 real slow through turn 2.
Yeah, it's when this run gets a bit later, you're going to see the 15 start to just wash up the track more and more. That right front's going to get more worn because of the damage he has. He's really going to struggle if he doesn't get some sort of yellow. And if there is a yellow, he's got to make sure he isn't the yellow.
RJ Root got in the fence hard out of turn number 2, right behind birthday boy David Mott Jr. Happy birthday to him as he runs an 18th right now after starting in 23rd, so +5 for the number 4 car. Bit of a wiggle by Jonathan Hernandez just up the road.
Gonna battle for that 6th position still brewing. Brian Chambliss, he dropped back pretty harshly when he went to the top line. He's right behind Banks right now, trying to get that position back. Going a little bit high. Not the preferred line I would take, but he's getting a really good run off of turn 2 doing that, but he just can't get to the bottom of Banks yet. Kind of just riding behind him.
Oh, big slide through turn number 3. Chambliss trying to size up that 36. Connection in the past has been the weak point for Joshua Banks, but it's been fairly stable so far. And it looks pretty good as he rocket off into turn number 1. This is an interesting weekend to come to after Darlington, because a lot of drivers did their throwback schemes there. You could sort of do the same thing here, Connor. This is a throwback to NASCAR in the days of old. Obviously, we have not come here in any form since, I believe, 2013 with the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series. They no longer go there as attendance was an issue. But again, I really like this track. I think it's really unique. And I don't remember those races being all that bad. I thought they would put on a pretty okay show, actually.
I had a really good finish. Kyle Larson, Joey Logano at the very end of that race. It was a very cool finish. You saw some drama. I'm pretty sure Bubba Wallace dumped Ron Hornaday under yellow. So you had fair share of good racing. It's just, you know, like you said, attendance was the big issue there, and they haven't come back since. But it's always nice to see them come back here. I think it's a really fun track. I wish we could go here again one day. It's not like North Wilkesboro where it's kind of out of our own possibility. If they can get this track, you know, kind of back up in shape, it could definitely be one of the better races in the schedule. Speaking of a good race right now, we got a good race brewing for the top spot. Brendan Bowers has been caught by not only Stravato, but also Adam Cabot.
Yeah, Brendan Bowers was running some pretty solid lap times, but now he seems to be dwindling that just a little bit. 0.3 of a second is the gap as they head off into turn 1. Stravato's been delicately running him down and quietly doing so, putting that gap from about 20 car lengths down to about 5, make it 4 now as they head off to the backside of the track. Cabot in behind. I think he's the quickest of the top 3 right now, and he's the quickest car on the racetrack.
He was about 0.2 faster than both the drivers ahead of him. I believe those two are teammates, Bowers and Stravato. Faster than, actually, no, I think Bowers is on HBR, excuse me. They were teammates last season as Cabot's trying to make some good ground up. I didn't even notice how far in front these top 3 are absolutely gone. About 4 seconds back to Angelo Horonis.
Yeah, Ronis in the 29 car started a little bit deeper in the field, so he's had a pretty good climb. Look at the Dash for Cash battle. The 77 and the 29 are in that, and Cabot would certainly love to get by these front 2 and put himself in position to win that. And again, as I mentioned, this is a short race, 49 minutes left, which means we will be essentially done before 11:15 tonight, which is really, really fast for an ORL race. Typically, these run in the hour 20 to hour 30 mark, depending on the night. But again, with a lot of green flag running, laps are going to take off, and the urgency is going to be high, especially for someone like Stravato, who, as it stands, without the 48 car in the field, we don't have our points leader here, so he would actually drop out of the points lead leading into next week.
Yeah, there's really no one else who can contend Stravato for that other than Jeff J. Wright. He was 9 points behind Wright, and then third, who's Angelo Horonis, 37 back, so it's going to be AJ's to take here with the 48 not here, as he's all over the back bumper of Bowers, as Cabot's all over the back bumper of him. He's going to go to the bottom right here.
For the race lead, Stravato goes down the inside. Cabot's going to get a great angle to watch this from behind. Going to go up the inside for a second. He's through and now knocking on the door for the race lead. And Stravato hoping to keep that front door locked.
Kind of protecting the bottom there. That's the one thing he does not want to give the 77 the bottom. You can give him the top all you want, but that top lane has really nothing to do with it. 77 got really close to the bumper at the 33 there. I'm kind of interested to see how far the 31 might drop from these two now. It's been a battle for 4th as well.
Might have been a slight touch there. The battle for 4th you mentioned, that's Ronis and Turner. Ronis is trying to hang on to it. Turner running a little bit quicker, and he's going to try to go up the inside. Here he comes at the exit of turn 2, side by side. And this time I think the 24 should get the run. It looks like Ronis will let him by. For the top spot, you know why this is interesting is because think about where we're going in a couple weeks. We have Kentucky next week. That's not what I'm concerned about. We go to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta on the 7th of November. And why that is significant is because of the road racing that the 48 is so very good at. If he returns, that could certainly turn this back on its head with a bad day by the 33 and 77.
Yeah, you never really know. Obviously, Jeff J. Wright, he's definitely the main contender at those road course races. Also, you never know, Zach Carr might drop in. Cabot won Road America, obviously. That was a big win for him. A lot of part-time drivers, you never know, might show up at the doorstep for Road Atlanta, the race that a lot of part-time drivers obviously have won this season. Looking for maybe a regular to get back onto the scoring sheet with either Stravato or Bowers, but Adam Cabot trying to be another part-time driver, trying to get his second win of this season.
Halpern is through in the 26 car. He will jump up to 8th around Bryce Calusa, or hang on to it for the very moment. Back up at the front, Stravato and Cabot still nose to tail as we get to the 1/5 mark of this race. Yeah, it's going by fast. Let's start talking about pit stops. We've dropped off 2.5 seconds from our fastest times. When do you pit if you're Brandon Bowers? Do you bow here early, or do you try to outlast everybody and maybe make these tires last longer?
I think mainly because of the fuel. I think you're going to see a lot of drivers split it up evenly. I don't think you can do a one-stop. I don't think the fuel can go to 75. So lap 50 and lap 100 is really when you want to start planning your pit stops around there. Obviously, you got to be careful so you don't get trapped, but I think you're going to want to split it up evenly as Cabot's looking to be inside into 3.
Here comes Cabot, 77-33, side by side for the top spot, and Cabot is through. He takes the lead away in the red and black Camaro and comes across the line to lead his first lap of the night. Stravato will have to settle for second now. Deeper in the field, Bryce Calusa going at Joshua Banks for 7th.
Yeah, a lot of those drivers starting to stack up.
Whoa, they touch! And
boy.
Calusa and Banks cross each other up, and Banks is going to get up on the apron. And here comes Halpern to drivers right now.
Not where Halpern wants to be. He's going to have no choice but to stick it in on the outside. Look at all the bumps, just carry him right up the track. Can't do anything with Banks. He's under attack from Brian Chambliss now, but he's going to stick it on the outside of Banks. Didn't expect him to be able to stay up there. 36 might be really ailing. Maybe the tires. He's going to almost chop the 36's nose there.
Really dicey moment as they head through turn number 2 and onto the back straightaway.
Whoa.
Big moment for Joshua Banks as the rear end steps out on him. Now off into turn 3, still on driver's left with Chambliss watching from behind. He wants to get by and battle for the top spot because that's where Cabot is, and he's got the green number, which means he's eligible for that prize too.
RJ Root came on the pit road. He's got a lot of damage. He's already hit the wall. I'm impressed with Halpern being able to stick it on the outside like this, really pinching Banks to that yellow line, forcing him onto the apron just like that. As Chambliss has a big moment, a really impressive pass. That was a huge pass by Halpern there around the outside. I honestly did not think that was possible.
The reason why Jeff Wright is missing today is he's actually in Kansas for the Cup race this weekend.
That's nice. Hopefully it's going to be a good show. It's going to be, I don't think we might see another big wreck. It's Kansas. You really never know.
We were just discussing before the broadcast. It always seems like Kansas has the gnarliest wrecks of any racetrack we go to, and it is not on our schedule for this season. It was last time around, as here's a battle here between, I believe that's Jeremy Miller in the number 30, and he will go by, or at least try to go by Bryce Calusa, but Calusa says no, he'll stay in 6th now.
Oh, Calusa almost hit the wall there. Just as you said that, I think that was
other way around.
Actually going by.
Yes.
Yeah, Calusa was going by Miller there. I think Miller just let him by there. It's actually a really good run for Jeremy to be in the top, well into the top 10 at a track like this. Not his strong suit. He's more acclimated to the bigger track, so this would be a huge result if he could just stay in the top 10, keep his nose clean.
Yeah, RJ Root back out on the racetrack, 2 laps down now. Had damage from an earlier collision with the wall. We looked at it a bit earlier in the night. It was a fairly serious hit to the outside wall. He might have done it again, and that was why he had to hit pit lane. But a long way to go to make his night better. And the problem is as I mentioned, this race almost always goes very green, so you're not going to get a lot of cautions to recycle you and get you back up towards the front of the field. So you better be ready to race it out. We've seen in the past, especially with the 3-wide racing league, we've seen leaders lap everybody but the second place car. And actually last time out, we had the leader lap literally everyone on the racetrack, obviously except for himself. So long green flag runs and big leads tends to kind of characterize this race here in iRacing.
Yeah, the fuel race, I think a season or two ago was no different. I think only 4 drivers run a lead lap, and that was in Xfinity cars. And that race had about almost like 40 cars. That's a lot of lap traffic. Certainly less than you have to deal with here. But speaking of lap traffic, that's what Adam Cabot's about to come up onto. He's actually already lapped the 42 Zach Floyd. Stravato will have to navigate around him as well. He's got Russell Arnold and Matthew Close and Brett Stewart coming up not so far away.
Adam Cabot's through now, and this should be relatively easy. The pace difference is so large. Shouldn't be too much trouble getting through the pack, but you never know what could sneak out at you. And again, I agree. I think everyone's going to split this race into 3 equal segments with pit stops at lap 50 and lap 100. That would be my guess. I think if you're anybody other than Adam Cabot, you split it up a little bit differently if you'd like to beat him, because he seems to have the handle on it tonight.
Yeah, and all of those drivers, especially the 33, actually, yeah, the 33 and the 31, they're going to have to be kind of thinking about that. They're probably thinking in their heads, all right, 50 and 100, but the 77's ahead of me. I might have to pit maybe 48 or 49. I'm going to have to outsmart him, get the track position on him. So you're going to see probably a lot of undercutting, especially with the guys who aren't in those top three. You're going to see guys like Bailey Turner, Bryce Calusa, maybe even Jeremy Miller have to pull something out here. Maybe pit, maybe this lap even, maybe in the next 2 laps. They're going to have to try something if they want any chance of getting up back to those 3.
So what's your thought on Brennan Bowers? I think I do the opposite if I'm Brennan Bowers. I think I beat up my tires. I would rather him maybe do an overcut to use the tire advantage, because he can't keep the tires alive on an undercut situation. He couldn't keep them alive when they're on the same strategy. So I would stay out longer and try to use the better tires later in the run to kind of offset the lack of pace that he has after he's brought the good out of the good years. So maybe if I'm Brennan Bowers, I try something a little bit different. You never won a race, so maybe this is what you do to try to get yourself in that position.
I wouldn't necessarily go with that, but it's really not a bad strategy to pull. He's got about a 5-second gap to Bailey Turner, so we could probably stay out a lap or 2 extra to try to get that overcut working, as long as he can get in front of, or at least right next to Bailey Turner to be able to pass him right away. He'll have the fresher tires on the 77 and the 33 possibly. I could see it completely working out, but he's got to execute it perfectly. You can't mess up when trying an overcut.
Bryce Calusa's just gone by Bailey Turner for 4th place. He is the biggest mover since the halfway point of this run, and if you remember where he started, it was all the way back in 7th, but he had dropped a little bit farther back, then moved his way back forward track position wise. So here he is now up inside the top 5 in 4th, and he is right now by far the fastest driver on the racetrack on the older tires. Only one driver has hit pit lane so far. That's RJ Root in the number 8, still 2 laps down.
You talk about the biggest movers up to the front. You have your movers to the rear as well. Joshua Banks is 3rd, all the way back into a 9th position now. He's actually on his own, right in front of Eric Hutton, then Jeremiah Vincent. And Brian Chambliss, he was running strong in 2nd in that early part, all the way back to 12th. Actually going back to 13th, way up the track without wrecking. He is wrecking. Oh, you think he's able to save it? He might be pitting here.
No, he's going to bail back out onto the racetrack. I would have just come. You're a lap away from splitting this race into 2. I would have come. If you can go to lap 75 and make it a 1-stopper, that's fine and dandy. That's a risk, though. I'm not sure you could go all the way that far.
I don't think the fuel will last that long either. It's an 80% fuel tank, so even if the full tank could go to 75, which I don't even think it can, you're not going to get there. So I think your only option really is a 2-stop. I would have came there. He was good job not completely destroying the car, but he's really struggling on the war tires. His cap's going to come up the lap. Brian Stewart and also Case Lakatos is back here in 18th.
Yeah, struggle for the 50 car today as well. But we talked about why this racetrack doesn't have a whole lot of yellows. I think part of it is because of the banking. There's so much camber to these corners that it will catch you if you start to slide. The banking really scrubs off the vertical speed as you head up towards the wall. So I like that for that reason. Eric Hutton's going to hit pit lane. He'll bring Ronis with them, actually make that vice versa. Behind, oh, big dive for pit lane
Bell.
for Bell. He's going to make it. That was a late commitment, but he got there. That was pretty wild.
Good thing he wasn't near anyone. If he had someone right behind him, he would have gotten rear-ended. Brian Chambliss, this time he joined him on pit road. As we see if any of the leaders react. Zach Floyd, he's a lap down. He's pitting this lap. Calusa just said he's pitting in this lap, trying to get an undercut going here, trying to looking at the 77 of Cabot to see if he will react. He can afford to stay out another lap or so. It's really the 33 and the 31 he's got to worry about. Is I think Stravado's coming in. Yes, he is.
Stravado
no, he's not.
will not come in. Ooh, Brandon Bowers had a big moment out of turn number 4. Calusa, as you mentioned, will hit pit lane. Bailey Turner will stay out another lap. We'll see if Calusa drags any more friends with him. So far, nobody, as he will come in exactly at lap number 53.
Thought a lot more drivers would come in, split it evenly at lap 50, but so far the main drivers up at the front staying out, 33, 31. Nope, the 31 Bowers is coming in now.
And on down, get it down to 45 miles an hour, and he will get there now. And aim for the pit lane and get 4 tires and fuel and head back out on the racetrack. 2-second lead for Adam Cabot over AJ Stravado as we work lap number 54, past a 1/3 marker of this race. And Cabot again will stay out. Stravado will also stay out. Bailey Turner, I would expect to see him and everybody else from him on back hit pit lane this time or next.
I think the 30's coming in. Yep, he's already on the apron. A bit of a slow entry, but you really don't want to risk destroying the car on that pit entry. So he's going to speed it up at the commitment cone, 40 miles per hour, I believe. I think this is a good opportunity. I think Bowers is going to get the race lead out of this because of those two not coming in. They're not reacting. Hernandez way sideways out of 4 as Cabot and Stravado, they're going to stay out another lap, even better for the 31.
Yeah, and it looks like Bailey Turner will do the same, or will he decide to come? It looks like he thought about it for a second, but will continue to run. Again, guys going pretty deep into this, trying to pull overcuts on each other. This works out for the 31 car in the short term. I'm not sure this is a great long-term strategy. We'll see if it pans out for him. But
77 and the 33, they stayed out again. I'm trying to see who's all the way back in third. It's still Bailey Turner, as he's also going to stay out. He's 10 seconds behind the leaders now, and Halpern also stays out. Still no one else coming in. Now it's Joshua Banks who's going to be the next driver to come down.
Yeah, Banks will hit pit lane at lap number 57. Brian Stewart, Casey Lakatos, the next drivers that we'd expect to see come on down, but they will stay out again. So Adam Cabot continues to lead this race. We have completed 57 laps, and Adam Cabot has led 24 of them. The other laps have been led by AJ Stravato and by that 31 of Brandon Bowers. A moment behind him, you see the 15 car of Alex Bell getting squeezed onto the apron by the 33, and Stravato slowed down a lot to facilitate that to happen. We'll see if he hits pit lane. No, he will continue to stay out on the racetrack.
I think that's another real concern. When you have drivers on different strategies like this, you're going to have your comers and goers. You're going to have a lot of drivers speeding up to you. Oh, Cabot really loose out of 2, letting a lot of fresh tires by. You got drivers just going to slam into the rear end of you because of the speed difference, about 2 to 3 seconds. And then if you're on those fresh tires, you have to really be careful. The drivers on old tires, making sure you don't slam into the back of them. You have to be really careful in a situation like this, as the top 2 yet again stay out.
Yeah, we're trying to stretch these tires and fuel as long as possible. There's a good look example of the speed difference. There's Halpern on old tires, the 1 car of Hernandez on new tires. Going to make him look like he's standing still down the front straightaway. And move the 1 car up to 21st. About half the field has come, half the field has not. 7th on forward is still out on the racetrack. The 92, Matthew Close, running in 10th right now. And he is, actually I should correct myself, everyone from 11th or 12th on forward has not yet pit, with the exception of Brandon Bowers. 7th on forward is still on the lead lap. Bailey Turner hits pit lane in the number 24. Last week's winner from Darlington. It had been a handful of races since he had gotten one done. And then in the closing moments of that Darlington race, he just came out of nowhere and went out there and took it.
Yeah, it was a really good result for him. I'm watching Cabot. He's just wheeling this thing. I'm really surprised these two are still stretching it as far. I'm even surprised Bailey went as long as he went. I don't think it's possible to go 75 laps on the tank of fuel. And if it's not possible, I don't see a reason to be stretching it this far. I think it's just obvious you'd pit at 50 and 100, but maybe they know something that we don't. I just don't understand it.
Again, prolonging tire life. Maybe that's the way to go, to have really good tires towards the end. Maybe they're anticipating some yellows later in the race, but I don't know. I'm not exactly sure why they're going this long. I think we could have expected maybe 5 or 6 laps, pushing past 10 or 15 past the first window. That is surprising to me for sure.
Yeah, that could be a thing of fearing going a lap. You don't want to get trapped laps down. That could be another thing, fearing that you're going to get trapped. I think they're expecting a lot of guys staying out to maybe start getting too loose, maybe wrecking themselves. Only about 5 drivers left on the lead lap right now, so yeah, I think it is a bit scary, the thought of getting trapped like that, but I still don't see, we've been talking about how green these races go. I don't see a reason, unless they can make it to 75 on fuel, I don't see a reason for this. The 33 almost got turned. Hernandez almost into the back of Stravato.
Wow, let's have a quick look at that as they went off into turn number 3. Here's the 1 car diving into the corner of the 33. Oh, that was really dicey there for a minute. And Stravato managed to let the 1 car on by, but that was certainly close.
Oh. Got a big train behind Cabot. Got to be careful letting these guys by. That includes Bailey Turner. Cabot's almost spinning. He's just absolutely holding on for dear life with the tires he has right now.
And it doesn't help that they put you off into the marbles off the racing line. But interestingly, look who's behind him. That's Brandon Bowers, and he is actually about to unlap himself, which tells me that Bowers will pretty strongly be in the race lead. Cabot is sideways out of turn number 2.
That's why I don't understand staying out this long. They're just dying on these old tires. I wouldn't be surprised if Cabot just bails. He's lost a lot of time.
Staying out.
He's staying out, and so is Stravato. They must be able to make it to 75. I don't see any other reason to stay out this long.
Holy cow, that was a big moment at the exit of turn number 2, but he held on to it.
Yeah, that was a really good job just holding on to it. I just don't understand how they're making this work. I still think we actually had a moment, if you go and look back, Jeremy Miller almost completely lost it out of turn number 2 on 65.
I think we'll continue to show what's going on now as he works off into turn 3. A lot of big slides here and there, but Adam Cabot leading now by 9/10 of a second over AJ Stravato. You see on the bottom of the racetrack, that is Russell Arnold, I believe. He is 4 laps down. We've lost Zach Floyd. He is out of the race. Brian Stewart is 3 down. Casey Lakatos, David Mott 2 down. Russell Arnold is 5 down. I don't know how he found himself in this position, but heading back to pit lane here is Cabot and Stravato. They are definitely trying to get to lap number 75, Connor. I don't know. I mean, if they can do this, then they've won this race, I think.
I really don't know. I don't think it's that simple, but I know we talk about green flag runs, but I just can't see that working. I don't know if we don't know if they're saving, if they even have to save to make it to 75. Is going to be the next one to unmap himself. I just don't see it working. I just think the fresh tires in the end, the guys like Bowers, like the 24 of Bailey Turner, I think the fresher tires, the 2 stops better here. I just don't see it working. As Cabot's just struggling as it is right now.
Well, I guess we'll find out, but 5 laps till halfway. You've committed to the strategy at this point. There's no backing out. If you can't make this work, then you're in big trouble. This has gone past the point of overcut. This is not an overcut anymore. This is just completely different strategy, and I'm not convinced. If they can make this work, I think they might win. If they can't make this work, it's game over.
And there's only 2 other drivers doing it. Zach Halpern, who's also in the Dash for Cash, just trying to keep pace with Cabot on the same strategy, and also Matt Burgess. I don't think he's came down. Oh, Cabot's away. He's pretty much spinning. He might try to get the pit road. No, a huge slide, but again, he stays out.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
It's just baffling to me. I don't know about you, but I just find it baffling. I don't think it's going to work this well, but I guess you just really never know.
Here's a look at the exit of turn 4. He's just off the line in the first place. I'm not exactly sure what he's doing all the way up at the top of the racetrack. But he is struggling massively. He is 4 seconds, or 3 to 4 seconds off pace from where he was at the beginning of the race and continues to lap.
As well as Stravato. 23.4 last time for Bowers. Stravato, I'll go off of Stravato's time. He's about 2 seconds faster than Stravato, and he's going to pit around lap 100 for his final stop.
Oh, going to get tight at the exit of 2 here, the 34, the 4, and here comes Jeremy Miller in the 30, going to make this a party and touch from the 34 to the 33, and Stravato will have to chase the car, and he's going to come in pit lane.
That's going to be a really slow entrance. Got to be careful. I was about to say 25, because it's only going to be about 25 laps until the 31 pits. I don't think the difference in time for the 77 and 33 is going to be enough to get to Bowers before he comes in for a stop. I just don't see it working for them, but you really never know. We'll see if the 33 has to repair any damage. I don't think rear end damage, you'll really worry about that. Alburn came down the lap of 4. He's actually getting out of pit road just now.
Here comes Cabot, and again, so this is at lap number 75, so we know you can go the distance on fuel from here if you're Adam Cabot. The tires are the big question mark. You have to make these tires last until the end of the race, and that is a really big risk. Someone like Brennan Bowers can beat, pardon my French, he can beat the hell out of him and not have any repercussions because he can come get new tires here in 25 laps, as you mentioned. So I thought that this was going to work out, but I think you're right. I think they lost too much time, and they're going to have to end up on a, losing to this 2-stop strategy. I think that's just the way to go. Bowers might be in position to win this race.
And it's a perfect storm for Bowers because he really has no pressure. It's about, he already passed Matt Burgess, who's still staying out there on his tires. Bryce Calusa's the next closest. Calusa's actually a bit faster, I believe. About 0.3 or so faster. Yeah, a bit faster than Bowers right now, but he's still 6 seconds behind. It's just really about just keeping the car in one piece for Bowers at this point. He doesn't have to worry about racing the 33 or the 77 on track. It's all about what he does on his strategy, coming in and out of pit road. He's got to be absolutely perfect from here on out and just race the racetrack.
Battle for 8th place. It's Eric Hutton and Brian Chambliss will soon be for 7th, as it looks like Matt Burgess has hit pit lane in the number 12 car. So across the line now to complete lap number 76 for this handful of cars. Hutton and Chambliss continue to scrap for that 7th place position.
Meanwhile, because of the 33 undercutting the 77, Stravato, if this one-stop strategy works, it's good for him because he's gotten in front of Adam Cabot. Cabot a bit faster on the I'd say the middle of the run, but Cabot lost so much time slipping and sliding with the 33 on the long run. So if this goes the distance, they're going to, we got a wreck on the backstretch.
Oh, caution. And it's
Frank
RJ Root, excuse me. And the caution is out at lap number 79. Well, that changes a lot of things.
That might have just really hurt Stravato and Cabot. I think they might have gotten trapped a lap down. I'm not sure what happened. I think Root just lost it on his own here.
No, he was struggling with the exit of turn number 2. Here's a look as he came off of corner number 2. He had the 33 up underneath him, And he just runs up the racetrack, catches the safer barrier, bounces off, and that's game over.
And he's going to kill the inside safer barrier there. A huge hit, almost coming up into the path of Cabot. Hronis barely avoiding him. Brian Stewart.
Yeah, Bryant Stewart could just got a piece of that. We're right on board with him here.
Meanwhile, everyone else who had done that two-stop strategy, Bowers, the 20 of Calusa's in, Hronis, pretty much everyone, Miller as well. Miller's actually got left front damage because he actually he got really loose off of 2. That's what I was talking about. He got loose, went all the way to the inside wall in the backstretch, hit it pretty good, but he seems like he's still running okay. That's going to be big. Shervado and Cabot, they're going to have to take the wave around here.
So Brandon Bowers, again, he had to come hit pit lane, so he is in there getting service now. This is going to reshuffle the order here, but it'll be now the question becomes, will cautions breed cautions? At this point in the race, we have not had a crash until now, and it was still a single car incident. So now will we foster restart mayhem coming to what is now 70 laps to go next time by the line?
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more and more yellows happening, because we saw in the initial start, the fight to get to the bottom lane is so crucial. You see a lot of stack-ups happen when you get all those cars fighting for that one lane on the bottom. It could cause a huge stack-up. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. Concerned if the 33 and 77 can get back up to the front, because they're going to be on older tires. They're going to need that yellow, or else they're pretty much toast. If this goes 70 laps to the end, the 33 and the 77, they're pretty much out of it. It's going to be between Brandon Bowers, Bryce Calusa, Bailey Turner still up there. It's going to be a completely different race if they can't get back to the front.
So Adam Cabot in the 77. Fresh tires on this car, and I think that's the saving grace, is that they had just put tires on. So they didn't have to come back down again, but they are still going to be in a disadvantageous position in comparison to Brandon Bowers, who if this is, again, we just showed at the graphic, he has never won an ORL race before. If he is going to win a race in ORL competition, it is going to be tonight. He has just been rock solid. He's been one of the fastest drivers on the short to medium run, and I think this benefits him if we have a couple of cautions between here and the checkered flag. I think Bowers will be able to take advantage of it. We saw earlier that he lost pace on the long run, Connor, but I think you give the long run to the 33 or the 77 easily. But short run, 10 to 20 laps, I'd pick the 31 any day.
Yeah, they're kind of all different in different places of the run. The 31 faster on that shorter run. It was Adam Cabot who had more pace in that middle section of the run, when the 31 and the 20 and all of them were pitting for their two-stop. That's when the 77 was best, when he was stretching those tires out as long as he had to. Votto had that. He had the range. He was able to save the rear tires especially even more. So it's going to be about how long to the end a run is going to happen here. All three drivers still have a chance at winning, but the 33 and 77, like we said, they're going to need extra help. And he got a lot more drivers up at the front now who are as hungry as Bowers as well. 50 starts. Bowers hasn't won Calusa. I don't believe he's won at an oval. Angelo Hronis, he's gone a long time without a win. 60 total starts, even 10 more than Bowers without a win. Joshua Banks hasn't won in a long time since Gateway. A lot of hungry drivers.
Certainly, I think it's going to be a pretty hungry group of drivers here at the front of the field as we approach the restart here. Bowers in command, the 20, Calusa on the outside of that front row for the restart. It'll be under 70 laps to go, closing in on 65 laps to go. Here we go. Pace car pulls off. Brandon Bowers in command. The sun is setting in North Carolina, but the action is just getting started. Green flag back in the air, and a slow restart for the 20 sends the rest of the field scrambling off into turn number 1.
We're going to see Calusa drop a bit here. Also Banks as well, stuck on that top line, can't do anything about it. Angelo Hronis powers his way to second.
Big slide for Alex Bell in the background, but he's going to hang on to it. The 33 and 77 buried in 12th and 13th here on the restart. Lots of work to do. I think they're the fastest drivers in the field here. They just have to be patient to get back to the front. At the front, though, Angelo Hronis with the green numbers on the side of that car. He is eligible for Dash for Cash, and he is hungry and sitting in second.
I don't know what he cares about more, Dash for Cash, the money you get for winning, or just winning in general.
Winning.
I guess it coincides well together, but he is going to be absolutely all over the back.
Whoa.
He's gonna get loose out of 2. He's driving to driving the wheels off of it. Bailey Turner going for back-to-back wins as well.
Yeah, Bailey Turner, he is just about hitting his stride here this season. Won last week at Darlington in dominant fashion towards the end of this race, now knocking on the door for a second or even a first again. But the 2 drivers in front of him, you're asking if they want the cash or the win. 100% the win. I don't even think Ronis cares about the cash at all. It's all about getting that W for the first time here in overall competition, and he is so close to getting it past Brandon Bowers in the number 31 car. Behind them, Brian Chambliss holding up a big train of cars.
And at the very end of that train, we got the Banks really sideways to the bottom. Miller's going to go by him on the outside. A big moment for the 36 there as Jonathan Hernandez, Alex Bell back there. You see the 33 and 77. I think they're about to get 11th and 12th away from Clifton Cockrell, but without a caution, they're pretty much toast. The tires, they're okay, but they're just not as clean as the 31 and pretty much everyone else ahead of them.
They just need the position. They're going to have to pass everybody. I'm watching Bailey Turner. He was quicker than both the race leaders last time. I think he's got the longevity to maintain more so than the 31 and 29 are capable of doing. Bit of a slide there out of turn 4. And I would just, if I'm Ronis, Turner rather, I would just continue running the pace I'm running and let them fall back into my hands.
Yeah, these top 3, he has a lot of space to work with. These top 3, kind of like the 77, 31, and the 33. These top 3, now the 31, 29, and 24, they're away. Bryce Calusa, a second or 2 back with Brian Chambliss, Jeremy Miller, Joshua Banks, and a lot of other drivers back there.
Eric Hutton side by side with the 33. That's for 10th. Move Stravato back in there. It looks like Adam Cabot will not be too far behind.
That's another big thing. The 33 and the 77, they're kind of screwed on their strategy if it went green, but at this point they're pretty much racing themselves. Whoever gets the better track position, if the yellow is to come out, is in the best position to get back up to the front to get that race win. So they're very much racing themselves through the rest of the pack.
You can see how bumpy this racetrack is, especially through 3 and 4. Riding on board with Joshua Banks as he is kitty corner to the number 9 at Chambliss. And to lift out of the throttle there, Hernandez should be right alongside him now as they head down the backstretch.
Hernandez really lost a lot of time out of the corner. He actually lets Alex Bell by for that 8th position as well. So Hernandez not really putting up so well. Got 2 hungry drivers to get back up to the front.
Ronis trying to go around the long way in turn number 1. Can't do it. Going to try to cross over. He's on the apron at the exit of turn 2. Half a car length back from the top spot here at Rockingham.
Trying to enter high and exit low, trying to get the run onto these straightaways to get under the 31 into a corner. If he can get, he's going to get way sideways. That's at least the 2nd time he's done that, driving really hard here. He's got to be careful. It's going to wear the right front out a lot if he's trying to make that diamond arc sort of work. As battle for 3rd, not much of a battle. Jeremy Miller easily on the 4th position. He's going to get up to a huge run for Miller if he can stay up there.
Yeah, Miller, Calusa, 4th and 5th. Brian Chambliss is behind. He's fanning out to try to keep Joshua Banks behind him. Banks dives for the apron to try to miss him. He will, and that battle will continue behind him with Bell sizing him up to maybe grab a spot or 2.
Meanwhile, last lap or so, Adam Cabot, he was able to get that track position on Stravato. He got by AJ Stravato. I'm not sure if Stravato had a moment, but the 77 looking better track position-wise, but he's got almost 3 wide happening in front of him. He's going to go to the inside of Hernandez. Hernandez really struggling.
Yeah, it looks like Cabot's not being super shy about where he's putting the car. He's willing to put it in places other people are not. As we close in on 50 laps to go here shortly, the time is running out. He's still at the bottom half of the top 10. He's got a long way to go. It's now 6 seconds to catch Brandon Bowers, who is extending his lead over Angelo Ronis last time by, as this field is getting really dicey for the bottom half of the top 10.
Stravado's going to have to fight hard to get by Chambliss. They're almost 3 wide down the backstretch. Halpern, Lakatos, and Vincent. Halpern was the next driver on that one-stop strategy who also had to take a wave route, not getting through the field as well as those 2. Still back here in 14th, just getting by Lakatos and Vincent. Actually, Lakatos is still a lap down, I believe, yes.
Surprised at Jeremiah Vincent. I would have thought we'd see a bit better run out of him today. Started in 17th position and has only climbed 2 spots, so maybe a disappointing day for him so far. Alex Bell dealing with Brian Chambliss, who's going to try to go up the inside. That got really dicey, but somehow they work it out, and Stravato now going to try to sneak in there on the inside.
Chambliss said over the radio he's not going to be nice next time. I don't blame him. The 15, he got way loose off of 2 like we've seen him do so many times. Tried to find a hold of a bottom, just barely made it work. Like Chambliss said, he was nice to a 15 there as he gives a bump to Stravato.
Yeah, if you have friends out there, it's time to make them not your friends. I mean, this is it. This is go time. And if you are in a rush, you're not going to let someone in front of you slow down your progress. Joshua Banks goes by Bryce Calusa for 5th spot. Out front, though, Brandon Bowers still in solid control of this race. He has led 49 of the 97 laps that we have completed so far, and soon to be most laps led, and he will actually clinch that relatively shortly as he continues to drive away from Angelo Ronis.
He's got to pace himself. He sees himself pulling away. That's good, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. The yellow is out.
Caution.
I'm trying to see, Jonathan Hernandez spun off a 4.
Yeah, and this is going to certainly trigger another set of pit stops here at lap number 98. And we'll have less than 50 laps to go at the restart. Let's go back and have a look at what caused the accident. Hernandez was already sideways. Let's go back a little deeper. Was there contact maybe, or... Oh, the 9 checked up, and the 1 had to slow down, got on the apron, and that's all that happened. And looped it around. No contact, no damage. He will continue, but yellow flag is out. That will shuffle the strategy a bit.
That's big for the tire sets, because although the 33 and the 77 had to take the wave round, they have that extra set of tires. As Brandon Bowers, Bailey Turner, I think all these guys are going to be using their 3rd extra set of tires. They're only going to have 1 left for the last 50 laps, while the 33 and the 77 to 26, they have an extra set, so that might come in handy.
Yeah, I think you'll probably be good on tires from here on out. I think if we get a caution in 15 or 20 laps, I think you'd come again. After that, I think you just chance it and stay out on the racetrack. I'm not convinced that more tires will necessarily help you at this point. But everybody going to come get 4 Mr. Feelgoods and a couple gallons of Sunoco race fuel before they head back out on the racetrack to contend the final 50 laps of Rockingham tonight. We head to Kentucky Speedway next week, and in 2 weeks' time, we head to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. For the first time, we visit that track in stock cars here on SimTV. Then we'll head to Chicago, Indianapolis, Phoenix, Charlotte, Talladega, Sonoma. Sonoma.
I make that mistake too.
Sonoma, Dover, Iowa, and Atlanta is where we will contend our season finale. Wow. And I know this time at Sonoma, as we see the race off pit lane, Bowers will win it. Sonoma, we're running the current Cup layout, the regrettably awful layout is the one we are running this time, unfortunately. We're going to take a very short break. We'll be right back here for the restart in just a moment. Hang tight. Back live from the Rock Thunder Alley, Rockingham Speedway, whatever you want to call it. It's certainly been a show here tonight. Working lap number 101 of 150. Brandon Bowers in command of the field after having led the most laps of anybody out there tonight. 52 to be exact, and continues to rack up those numbers. As we come across the line, we get the 1 to green sign here. Pick me a winner. I say the 31 gets it done. Your thoughts?
At this point, I don't know, because obviously the 77-33 are on even tires now, but I don't know if 50 laps is going to be enough for them to get through the 24 and the 20. I think Bowers is going to have the best shot at winning, but just to have a different pick, I think if any of those two are going to get through the field, it's going to be Adam Cabot.
Cabot will restart in 6th place on the outside of the 3rd row. I think he's close enough to get it done. The real question becomes, can he get it done? I mean, I think he's certainly capable. I'm just not sure if he will. So as we roll through turn number 3 and 4, we're going to be doubling back up again. Ronis is certainly a danger to Bowers in the short term, but with a good restart, I do think Bowers is the faster car. The one I would be worried about if the 77 does not get there is Bailey Turner in the 24. 48 laps to go this time by from the Rock as the pace car will make the hard left-hand turn onto pit lane. Bowers in command. He's never won an ORL race before. Can he do it tonight? Green flag back in the air from the Rock. And a good restart, a check up behind for the 77 and the 20 as they squeeze by 3 wide.
It's going to be tight 3 wide.
Oh, behind him!
Eric Hutton and around. A lot of drivers getting involved in this one.
A couple drivers turned around. Matthew Close, one of them. Eric Hutton, I think, was the driver that was at first involved in all of this.
Zach Halpern as well. He's been involved in almost every single wreck lately. It's been fortunate, but another wreck he just can't avoid.
Eric Hutton, I think, got the worst of that. Our third caution of the night on a restart at lap number 104. Let's go back and have a look here at how this started. This, I think, happened in the middle of 1 and 2, and looking back at how this all began. Watch the 88 car.
We'll see who got into him, because it was the 88 who broke sideways first. Halpern behind him.
Oh, the 16.
Cockrell.
Clifton Cockrell got into him, and the 26 could not miss him. The one car, Fernandez, got a big piece of that as well.
Matthew Close at the end there. Matt Burgess, the 12, got involved as well. Halpern just nowhere to go. Cockrell just maybe saw a lane middle, and there was really nothing there. A bit of a mistake washing up the track like that. A lot of innocent bystanders in that one.
Yeah, and 26, Halpern was having a fairly decent night. I think he'll be disappointed. Think back to Darlington, had some bad luck there as well, as he will hit pit lane along with a few other drivers. So caution out again here at lap 105. And that helped Cabot. He's up to 5th place now, so he gained a spot there. AJ Stravado will jump up a few as well. Bowers still in command. But this is not the kind of short run that he needs. I think he needs like a 15 or 20 lap run, but not 1 or 2 lap runs. That will just help Cabot and Stravado get closer to the front of the field.
I think they're both going to be starting on the bottom lane, so they're already going to be in the preferred lane for a restart, and if that keeps happening, they're just going to gain more and more position. So the more short runs they're going to have like that, the farther they get up to the field, and they have that extra tire set, so that at any point, they could have a lot of drivers behind them pit with them, and they'll have the huge tire advantage over the 31, the 24, and others.
So we talked about how the 31 has never won a race in ORL. Neither has Angelo Ronis. Looking at Outsider Racing League, only has 1 top 5. No, that's not correct. That's the season, I believe. But has never won. I don't think he's won, period, if we look back.
Bowers, no.
No, I'm talking about Ronis. Has he ever won a race?
No, he has not. Nope.
All right.
60 races.
Yeah, so it's been a long time.
60 starts, actually.
Yes. Alex Bell sits 4th right now, and Alex Bell, I believe, is also a driver who...
He has won. Not since season 1. I think Dega.
Been a while.
55 races for him.
Wow. So long winless periods for each of our top 5, with the exception, well, I guess each of the top 4, with the exception of Bailey Turner, who has his most recent win last week at Darlington. And he had not had a great start to the year in the first handful of races, but here he is running in 2nd. Well, I guess it should be 3rd. Is he being scored 2nd now? He might be. Yes,
he is 2nd, yes. That's a big... he was able to get by because he had the inside line. Hronis couldn't get to the bottom in 1 and 2, and while the yellow happened, the 24 got the nose ahead. So that might be big for the position on the restart, but I think Hronis is still in a better position because you really want to be in that bottom line.
So what's coming up here on Sim TV the next couple of days? Tomorrow afternoon, not much going on in the name of Sim broadcasting. I'll be live on the Spec Corvette Facebook page calling some races in Button Willow. That will be at about 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Sunday night will be the 19th of October, and it will be Darlington. So we're going to the Lady in Black for a little bit of a throwback in more ways than one on Monday night. Tuesday, the Fuel Premier Mission 22 Series heads to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Wednesday, the Washington, D.C. region SCCA will head to the Circuit of the Americas with GT4 and TCR machinery. And Thursday, Scars Ferrari Challenge will be back, this time from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, before we end up back next week for ORL at Kentucky. So that is the week ahead of you here on Sim TV. If you're new or have not been here before, make sure to subscribe and join us for more sim racing and more racing in general, as I will be joining the Grid Life team officially for 2021 and moving to Chicago here in the next couple of weeks. So looking forward to the next adventure here as the field rolls through turns 3 and 4. Bowers chooses the outside lane. Is that a mistake here, Connor? I think it might be.
I'm not sure. I think he would rather have the 24 behind him than the 29. That's what I see, having the 24 stay on the bottom. I think he would rather deal with Bailey Turner. Shocking to me, but he's going to get the jump, and we're going to be green.
Green flag back in the air. He might have done that just to keep the 77 out of the preferred line. Bowers well clear of the race lead and off into 1. Will rocket away into the sunset here. As behind him, it's a scrap for 3rd. Ronis and Bell going for it, and they're going to both slide out of turn number 2. They hang on.
I think I think you're right. He wanted to benefit everyone but the 77. That let Jeremy Miller get back down in front of the 77. Hronis is going to drop back another position to 4th. Miller's going to look to the bottom as well. Can't get there.
Bailey Turner, though, is closing for that race lead. That's a dangerous guy to give good track position to. Trying to reel in that 31. 40 laps to go and a couple laps. Big slide for Bell. He's been really struggling with corner exit the last, well, I should say all night, I should say.
And 29 had to take evasive action. He's going to go way up the track, hits the bumps harshly. It's going to give Miller the chance to try to get in the top 3. Hronis, a big block, actually a cut back to the bottom on Bell. 30 goes up the track. 77 is going to have a good opportunity to get to the bottom. 30 is going to shut the door. Not quite shut enough.
Oh, man, and the 77 took advantage of him there. He's through, so move Adam Cabot inside the top 5. A scrap behind him going on for 12th position between David Mott Jr., birthday boy, and Jeremiah Vincent. You can throw Halpern in the mix as well. He's out for vengeance as he sweeps on through. Well, the 16 of Cockrell almost got in the fence on the front straightaway. Up the road more. Jeremy Miller going out around the outside of the 20 to try to hang on to that spot.
Just lost another position of Travato. Miller not having the best of restarts after his little scrap there as the top 2 start to pull away themselves. Bowers and Turner ahead of the pack. Hronis trying to chase him back down after having to repass Alex Bell. And now Cabot in the top 5. And also Travato, he's lurking.
The 31 leads this race by 0.3 of a second. Bailey Turner just behind him last time by. It was a 10th better for Bailey Turner. So we'll see if that changes the next few laps. As we come across the line, we'll see if Bowers is the quicker one. 22.455, or excuse me, 22.432 to a 22.477. So it was a little bit quicker than Bailey Turner that time.
I'm kind of enjoying watching all these guys in the top 5. They're racing for everything. A lot of drivers on long winless streaks. Bailey going for back-to-back. Bell, he's been struggling all day. He could maybe get back into a running with a win. Jeremy Miller, he's been strong. He needs to get track position back, but you just never know. So many stories to keep up with here. He's got a driver way sideways out of turn 4. Actually trying to go 3 wide. I think that was Okada's. Yes, it was.
Swing the pendulum back towards Turner. 0.2 better than Bowers that lap by. He is on the rear bumper of the race leader. And tonight, the 24 of Turner has led 0 laps. And he wants to lead some now with just about 35 laps to go.
46 races without a win before Tarlington. His last win before that, it was right here at Rockingham. He stole that win away from Joshua Banks, Elliott Butler, and others. He might be able to do the same thing tonight, maybe steal another one here at the Rock.
Field streams on by the back straightaway camera. 35 laps to go at the Rock. Bowers, Turner, again, throwing the advantage back towards Bowers. 0.003 of a second quicker, but keeping the gap relatively constant. As everyone else has found some room to race, I think we go green to the checkers here, and now it's an all-out brawl between pace for the front 2.
Yeah, I really don't know without a yellow if the 33 and 77 can get there. So we'll have to see. There's still a lot of time for their tires to start kicking in, but I can guarantee you the 31 and 24, both of these drivers are driving their asses off. They're not leaving anything on the table. They're probably got it. They probably have it in their minds. This is the run to the finish. You got to go get this win now.
Turner now 0.3 back. I think he's losing ground. I think Bowers has figured out something to keep the longevity in that car more. Across the line, he was a couple hundredths quicker. There's a train forming behind Bell. It's Cabot, Stravato, Calusa. I think Bell is sort of the cork in the bottle here, and that pressure is about to unleash if Cabot can get by.
It's always risky when trying to pass Bell. I don't mean to be rude about it, but he's one of the more aggressive drivers when it comes to defending his position. He's not going to let anyone by, especially Adam Cabot, so he's going to give this fight. He's going to go all the way to the end if it possibly can. You got to watch out for Stravato. If Cabot has a bit of a slip-up, it's going to be Stravato who's going to be able to capitalize.
And Stravato, as it stands, would walk out of this the points leader. As coming into the evening, it was relatively Jeff Wright's show. 9 points over Stravato. Hronis, though, will make up some ground on Stravato if it finishes as is.
It definitely will be a good points night for a bunch of these guys. I'm trying to see where the points are. Whoa.
Big door slam by the 15 into turn 1. I think that's what you're talking about as we come to 30 laps to go. The amount of shenaniganry that Adam Cabot is willing to accept is probably going to decrease significantly the next few minutes. Calusa and Stravato about to trade positions. I'm not sure Stravato was agreeing to that.
I don't think so. He's going to try to cut to the bottom immediately into turn 1. Kind of backs out, gets a better run to the center to get right back by Calusa. Bit of a crossover there. Calusa going to pinch him to that apron, get a better run off. Going to keep the position, so put Calusa up a spot. I'm just wondering... Oh, I think we're going 3 wide in the back. Nope, not quite. I'm just wondering when Cabot's patience is going to run out. He sees those drivers getting away from him. He sees Alex Bell holding him up. When does that patience run out? He's going to swipe
right
to the
here.
bottom.
And here's where the patience runs out into turn number 1 and pass complete. Now Cabot needs to set his sights on the front 3. I think he's quick enough to get there, but he's got to go now because once you get to Ronis, he's going to hold you up for 2 or 3 laps. Then Turner will hold you up for 2 or 3 laps, and then Bowers will be able to hold on for 2 or 3 laps. And by that point, you're going to be running out of real estate, time, and energy.
Another bad for position done. That's putting Joshua Banks up to the 8th position, passing Jeremy Miller. And that's the thing. Getting there is one thing, passing's another. And a track like this, where if you wrap the yellow line perfectly, it's going to be hard to pass you. It's going to be really tough. You know the 29's not going to lay over. He wants the track position, the better finish. Bailey Turner, Brandon Bowers, forget about it. They're not, especially Turner. He's not going to let you go at all, I don't believe.
Bowers is just about 25 laps away from claiming his first Outsider Racing League victory. How meaningful would that be in a field that's this competitive? Behind him, look at the 20 car of Calusa now all over the back of that number 15 Camry of Alex Bell. He is going at him, and this is for a top 5 position. He's got a big run, gonna look right, now sweep left.
I know it's probably not that much of a concern, but it's, whoa, baby, Calusa getting to the inside. Trying to push Bell up the track. That's going to open a door for Stravato.
Yeah, Bell got in the fence entering turn number 1. That's going to leave Stravato and Calusa easy way around, and the 15 has really beaten the right side of that car off. Going to need to rewrap it and do some body work when they get that car off the hauler.
I know it shouldn't be a concern, really, but it's getting dark. Not really a lot of sunlight left here because the sim time, it is in October, so it's not going to be a late sunset. The sun is going down, and the track is getting way cooler.
Having a look at the weather here, the track temperature has dropped a little bit from the start of the race, but it's going to drop significantly here in the closing moments. I don't know. We see Cabot battling Ronis for 3rd. I think that this is Brandon Bowers' race to lose. Cabot's still 2 seconds back. That's a lot of time to make up. He was 2/10 quicker than the race leader last time by.
Yeah, even if he gets by Bailey Turner, the Bowers isn't going to give him any sort of room. It's going to be a race for the win, and we're kind of past that point where that extra tire set really comes in handy. We're getting about 20 to go. If there's a yellow now, I think everyone gets their set, and they're probably done pitting from here on out. So I think that extra tire set that Cabot and Stravato have is pretty much useless at this point. It's all about Cabot trying to chase him down, trying to get another win.
I think if you get about another 10 laps, I don't think people will come in at all. I think they'd rather just chance it out there on old tires. Should we get a green-white checkered situation? 8/10 is the race lead for Brandon Bowers as he comes on through. Bailey Turner, Cabot. Last time by, though, Cabot, another 2/10 quicker. He's at 1.5 back. The math works out in his favor, but that means it only works out if he can get by Bailey Turner as fast as he did Ronis a minute ago.
Yeah, he only really got by Hronis. I'm not sure if Angelo really let him by or just slipped up the track. He's having trouble getting to that yellow line. Once again, Hronis kind of running the middle. Meanwhile, we got a battle for about the 7th position. Banks is kind of starting to move up here. He got 8th from Miller, and Alex Bell, maybe he's the one who's just really starting to drop here.
Yeah, Banks started 3rd, so he's not running quite as high as we maybe would have expected based on his qualifying pace. Brian Chambliss, sort of vice versa. Actually, I guess the same situation. He will drop outside of the top 10 to 11th. In terms of the dash for cash, the driver to watch is Adam Cabot. He's going to sweep right now back to the left to try to get by Turner, and he's through. This is crucial for the battle for the race lead. 20 laps to go this time by. Bowers has to run because Cabot is coming.
And that gives him clear track of a 31. No one else to focus on. No one else is as fast as him right now. He's got 1 second to make up in 20 laps. It's going to be down to the wire.
19 laps to go, and they're going to, he's mentioned 3 wide, they're going to be counting off every lap here, Connor, until the end of this race. If you're Brandon Bowers, you're going to be counting every single one and just praying it ends.
He's going to be just looking at every single number, how much laps are left, how many thousandths of a second 77 gained into 3 or into 4. He's going to be analyzing everything. He's going to hear every sort of noise. He's going to see rain on the track, even though there's no rain in the sim. He's going to be hoping. I think at this point he really wants it to go green. He's thinking everything's going to go wrong at this point. And another thing to factor in, we're not too far away from lap traffic. Jonathan Hernandez a straightaway away. They might catch at least a few cars by the end of this one.
Cabot sweeping through 3 and 4, the Simply Pest Control on the hood of that car. And he is closing 0.6 of a second, half a second now as they come across the line. And closing on 15 to go for Brandon Bowers. He's got to make that car wide. If you can make Cabot slip up and use up those tires, then you could extend the time that you have out front. But this is almost looking inevitable. And this was not something that I thought was going to happen. I thought Bowers was free and clear, but Cabot has turned up the wick and he's coming fast.
Yeah, we'll see whose tires have more tread on them with these last 10 laps. Next time by will be 15 to go. All that Bowers really has to focus on when Cabot gets there is just wrap the yellow line as best as you can. This Cabot, even though he's been really fast, he's going to struggle. No one's really been able to pass on that high line. If you wrap that yellow line, you're going to make it especially hard for Cabot to get around you. If he's able to do that correctly, it's his best shot at holding on for this win.
Alex Bell has rubbered in a line. I'm serious. He has literally rubbered in a line at the exit. Look, take a look at this. The exit of turn number 2, you can see here, he has rubbered in a squiggly line down the back straightaway by how often he's gone down.
On the apron.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild. He's had a fun night for sure. 15 to go, coming to 14, and Cabot is less than half a second back, and that was a big botched corner and a slide by the 77, but Bowers lost a ton of ground that time. 14 laps to go for the race leader.
Wrapping the yellow line is all he can do. He's not going to beat him on sheer pace at this point. It's just him and the 77. Nothing else to worry about. He's just got to worry about racing the track, racing that yellow line, getting to that yellow line. He's going to have to pull out all the stops to try to hold off this hard-charging 77 machine.
13 to go. They count down relatively quick. 5 minutes is all Bowers has to defend for, but that 5 minutes is going to feel like an absolute eternity. For Adam Cabot, it's going to feel like 30 seconds, and it's going to bring up the intensity pretty quick. Bryce Calusa has just gotten by Turner for third.
Yeah, Calusa's actually been one of the faster cars on the track, actually 1/1000th of a second faster than the 31 himself. If he had more time, just maybe Calusa would have the pace to get up there. He needs a yellow at this point. It's a two-car race.
Lap traffic up the road, that's going to be a big factor here. I think that's the one car of Jonathan Hernandez. It should be it. There might be another couple cars to catch as well. Matthew Close is up the road. Bryant Stewart, I think, is up there too.
Zach Floyd's just gone onto the apron, probably letting pretty much everyone by coming into the pits. Russell Arnold, Matthew Close, Bryant Stewart, Clifton Cockrell, among others that are still out there. Meanwhile, look at the 31 blocking the bottom lane, not giving the 77 anything.
No, he's not, but is a 77 to be able to cross him up into turn number 1. 11 laps to go for Brandon Bowers. He needs to just hold that yellow line, and Cabot will have to move him to get the win done.
Yeah, if the 77 moves you, it is what it is. If anything, that gives you it gives you a chance. So he's going to get almost close to him. If he bumps you, it's fair game. He's got to remember that if the 77 goes for it. I don't think he has to block the bottom here, get it back up to the top, get a better arc here to 77, trying to set him up.
And I feel like Bowers knows what the ultimate plan is here. I think he knows that this is his race now to lose. Adam Cabot, I think, knows he's faster. I don't think he's trying to. He probably could have already been by if he wanted to be. I think he's being patient about this, trying not to force the issue and get into a bad situation. 9 laps to go, and you can bet Bowers knows exactly that number.
He's definitely looking at the laps. He's just got to look out the windshield for at least 9 more laps. As Cabot, he's gotten to him really sideways out of the corner. The Cabot got to him. He's not able to get the run out of the corner just yet. He sends it into 3 here, trying to wrap the yellow line as well as the 31, but he's not able to get a better run off than Bowers right now. He can't get under him.
He's better in turn 4 for sure. I think turn 1 and 2, it's definitely a draw. Into turn 1, the 77 charges in. He's way up the racetrack. Too much power, too much speed. Cabot will drop off the tail. It's 2.5 car lengths now as they head down the back straight.
That doesn't look like that big of a mistake, but with only about 7 laps to go, that's huge. That's a lot of time lost. Meanwhile, these two are losing a lot of time. Bryce Calusa 0.2 faster that time by. If these two start mixing it up side by side, Calusa might have a shot.
7 laps to go, 2.5 minutes left here from Rockingham. Brandon Bowers is 2.5 minutes from claiming his first ever Outsider Racing League victory. Lap traffic, Jonathan Hernandez in the way. Will he move? Will it be a non-factor? Non-factor is the decision. He'll go up the racetrack. Bowers is through. Cabot a half second back, and now I think the favoritism swings back to the 31 here as we hit 6 laps to go.
Yeah, ever since he slid into 1, he's lost so much time. 2 laps ago and another 10th or so that time by. He's starting to lose ground. Maybe he heated the tires up too much, and now he has no time to cool them down. He just has to go and hope that the car sticks.
Through turn number 1, Brandon Bowers this season has put himself in a position where this would certainly be a welcome addition Adam Cabot this season has started 3 races, and he already has a win this time around. And think about Brandon Bowers in that 31 as they come real tight at the exit of turn number 2. Bowers is 18th in the points, and he has not yet won a race, but he does have a top 5 to his name.
This is the best run that Cabot's had on him so far. He's gotten back to him. The 31 getting so close to the outside wall, using every inch of the track he possibly can. Now 4 laps to go.
Through turn number 1. A minute and a half left. Next time by will be 3 laps to go. Cabot knows his time is running out. He's close enough to use the bumper. Will he use the bumper?
I think Cabot would. He's getting as close as he can without hitting him. The 31 loose. The 77
he's sideways.
looser.
3 to go here from the Rockingham Speedway. Cabot is so close. He could have used the bumper. He didn't. Stravato's dropped now down to 5th as Turner goes by to 4th. And out of turn 2 here. 2 to go next time by, Connor.
And if these two get together, it's pretty much Calusa's race. If you could just avoid him, he is closed in. He's almost within a second. The 77 slides even more off of 4. They're using every part of the tires
Lap
they
traffic.
can.
There's traffic coming up the road as well.
Close.
2 laps left. 2 miles left for Brandon Bowers. Up the racetrack, he's trying to find some grip. Past the 92 of Matthew Close. No issue there. On the back straightaway. Look at everybody getting out of the way. Russell Arnold diving for the apron. Calusa's coming as well. Coming back to the white flag. The 77 is there. Bowers is a mile away from his first victory in Outsider Racing League. A slip and a slide by the 77.
That could be all the 31 needs to hold on. Cabot's really warmed his tires up. He sends it very far into turn number 1, trying to get enough grip to maybe have a shot at the rear bumper. He has a huge run out of 2 here.
Here he comes. Nose to tail. Bowers is half a mile away from his first victory. The NOS Energy. Can he get it back? Slide in turn number 4. For Adam Cabot, he can't get there. Brandon Bowers, as he comes out of turn number 4, finally, he gets it done. And he brings that blue and orange Chevrolet to victory lane. And Brandon Bowers is now a winner in the Outsider Racing League by half a second. What a great job he has done.
Race of the season without a doubt. A 2 to 3 car battle to the very end. The 77 did hit him, but he kind of lifted. He raced him clean and hard. And 50 races later, it is finally over. Bowers is finally going to victory lane.
And that has to feel good. And everybody congratulating. You see, Bowers is generally a very popular guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think everyone's going to enjoy this. And there are some races where it doesn't really matter if you win or not, just to see your buddy get it done. Bowers celebrates. It's been a long time coming. How many times have we talked about him starting up front and not finishing there? Tonight, from pole to win at Rockingham Speedway.
And without, obviously, a lot of drama, he got the pole here last season, as I noted. He got in the wall, he messed up the car, he couldn't recover, and he gets redemption not only for that Rockingham race, but for the 49 other races he couldn't win and couldn't close out. It is about damn time.
And that's exactly what he's probably saying right now as he pulls into victory lane. Celebrations and elation for the 31 of Brandon Bowers. Congratulations. We'll talk to him. I bet he'll be excited. Here's a look at your race results. No one will claim the Dash for Cash prize tonight, as Adam Cabot would have been in contention for that. He finishes second. And by the way, let's give Adam Cabot a big high five for racing Bowers cleanly. No major contact there. What a great run to the end. Calusa, Turner, Stravato, the rest of the top 5. Ronis, Banks, Bell, Miller, and David Mott Jr. How about Birthday Boy? Top 10 run for the number 4. Brian Chambliss just outside the top 10. And disappointing nights, I think, for Jonathan Hernandez and a few others in the field, including Eric Hutton. But again, what a drive by Bowers and Cabot. And Calusa, where did he come from? He came up there to finish in 3rd at the very end. And he started the race in 7th and quietly made his way towards the front.
Yeah, I don't know how. He came out of nowhere. 5 more laps, and he might have been the car to beat. He was way faster than the 77 and the 31 there at the very end. Just didn't have enough time. A late race restart possibly, but he just needed a bit more time. Tony was really fast, but it was really about time. Bowers finally got a win. He's been working so hard, and the 77, like you said, hats off. He raced him clean and hard.
We're going to step away for just a moment. We'll grab the guys to talk to, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Hang tight. We'll be right back. back live here for Sim TV for the Outsider Racing League here now with our third place finisher, Bryce Calusa, charging to the front in the closing stages of this race. Almost there, Bryce, but 6/10 back from the race lead and .127 back from Cabot. Tell me about that chase at the end there and how close were you to getting that 77 car?
Yeah, so I believe we had about a 50-lap run roughly on that last run there, and I had pretty minimal tire wear after the first 50-lap stint, so I knew I could save my tires a little bit and hopefully gain an advantage over everyone else. I was fighting with Servato there pretty early, and once I got past him and pulled away a little bit, I tried to back it off a little bit, and at that point, that kind of allowed me to get past the other guys who maybe burned up their tires a little more. So that's what I did last year. I just saved my tires at Rockingham, and I did it again this year and tried my hardest, but came up short.
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about the upcoming races here because we've got Kentucky next week, and then we head to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Tell me about the road course racing, and especially Road Atlanta. I know that that you've been running some other series as well. Is that a track that you think you can go out there and win at, or are you still trying to figure out the stock cars there?
Well, I'll tell you, I actually haven't practiced it at all yet, but it is one of my most raced tracks on the service. So I think I'll have a pretty good chance. I'm pretty determined to win that one.
All right, hey Bryce, congratulations on a top 3 finish. We'll see you next week at Kentucky.
Thank you.
To move on now to our second place finisher, Adam Cabot in the number 77 car here. We'll talk to him in just a moment as soon as I get a hold of him. Hey, Adam, you got a copy? Hey, gotcha. Second place tonight, almost victory. You were laid the bumper to the 31 in that final corner, almost got by. Saw so much pace and so much respect between you two as you're racing for the win, but it had to take some restraint as well. Take us through your night and charging back up through the field after getting kind of off sequence on that yellow and almost getting another victory this season.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting, kind of strange race, but I wish I could say I had some genius strategy, but I really didn't know how far we could go on fuel, and trying to do math while also not absolutely junk the car at a track like this is pretty tough. So it just happened to work out that that I think I would have been able to make it. I think AJ and I, we're teammates, but I think we're kind of playing cat and mouse, trying to see who was going to pit first, and then we pretty much were able to pit at the halfway point. At that point, I knew that if we actually saved a little bit next run, we probably would have made it. And then second week in a row that RJ Root decides to, I guess, make my race a little bit more difficult, and he crashed and changed up the strategy, make it more, made it a little bit interesting. AJ and I had to try to work our way through the whole pack to get back to the front, but honestly, at the end there, maybe I was a little bit too cocky, because I was just sitting, chilling, waiting behind Bowers. I caught him so fast and had so much pace earlier in the race, I figured, if I just waited until he made a mistake and slipped up, I'd easily get by. And he never really made that mistake. And by the time I realized, crap, there's 3-4 laps to go, I had like no rear tires from being tucked up behind him there. And tried to give him a little tap going into 3 in the last lap, but I really didn't want to dump him, and I don't think he's won a race before.
No, that's correct.
Yeah, so I just, I don't know, I don't want to go in there and just dump him and take that away from him. So he ran a great race, and I was counting on him just, making a mistake at the end, and he never did. So congrats to him.
Well, definitely a lot of respect, and Adam, congratulations on a really good run. We head to Kentucky next week, and then we head to Road Atlanta. That's a weird one. Your thoughts on the road course in Braselton, Georgia, and do you think you can be competitive there?
Well, I don't own Road Atlanta, so I guess step one is to buy the track, and then I can maybe give you an idea of how I think I'll do. But I mean, I somehow won the last road course race at Road America, so who knows? If I put in some practice and learn the track and have things go my way, maybe get another win there.
All right, Adam, well, congratulations again. We'll see you at Kentucky next week, and thanks for talking to us.
All right, thanks, Kyle.
Moving on now to a very popular guy at this time of night, Brandon Bowers in the 31. 50 races in, thanks to Connor for keeping the stats. Finally get a win here at Rockingham Speedway, and you earned it tonight. 102 laps led, holding off Adam Cabot, who already has a victory this season. it's been a long time coming. We've laid into you over and over and over about qualifying up front and slipping through the field, but you did not slip backwards tonight. You held onto it and drove up there and held onto the lead. Brandon, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, tell me about the emotions, the feeling, and how exciting that must have been to get your first win in the series.
It was pretty cool, dude. Like, Adam's really, really good, and he was probably better than me there at the end, but I'm surprised I held on to it because I was like shaking the last 15 laps, and I was nervous that I was going to spin out just because I was shaking, so well, I got my win, so
you can retire now, right? Is that how that works?
I guess. I can retire in peace now.
Well, it was a really good performance tonight. We head to Kentucky next week, and then we head to Road Atlanta, so it might be tricky to hold on to that momentum, but do you feel like you can take something you've learned from tonight and apply it to the rest of the season, and do you think that this is the first of maybe several wins this season?
Maybe another win if I slip into it right, but I'm not too good at road courses because I spin out like every time I go to a road course. So unless I'm just so fast, I can spin out multiple times and win. I mean, I'll take it, but I don't think I'll win on a road course. Kentucky, maybe, but it's like one of my worst tracks. So hopefully I can run good enough to get into the chase.
Well, hey, Brandon, I want to wish you a huge congratulations. Finally, awesome to see you here in Victory Lane. Good luck to you at Kentucky. We head to Kentucky, Road Atlanta, then Chicagoland, so things kind of normalize the week after. So best of luck to you, and thanks for talking to us, and enjoy it.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Well, have a good night.
You too.
All right, that's going to wrap things up here for Rockingham. We saw a fun race tonight, Connor, and in the past, Rockingham's always been a okay, fun track to go to. Never been one of my favorites for action, but tonight, that certainly proved me wrong.
Yeah, proved me wrong as well. I kind of expected pretty much a bottom line fest. I expected to go green. I didn't expect to see that much side-by-side racing, that much intense racing. The sliding all over the place. We had this two strategies split up in half pretty much. Then the yellow that split all of that, kind of just put all that aside. And then you had a huge run to the front with the 33 and 77. The 31 was in control from that first restart to the very end. He had a lot of pressure from Cabot, but finally, 50 races later, Bowers was finally able to hold on and get his first win. I'm so stoked for him, honestly.
He finally got it done. From Rockingham Speedway, I'm Kyle Heyer alongside Connor Horn. We'll see you next time here on Sim TV. It'll be Monday night, 3 wide, 87s. The Cold Hard Art Cup Series takes on Darlington. Then Tuesday, for the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series, we head to Atlanta. We'll see you on the 19th and 20th. Enjoy the day off tomorrow and enjoy the weekend. We'll see you next time here on Sim TV. Thanks for watching.